I have a confession to make. For the last 100 days, I have not eaten any of the food that we've been growing in our garden. I know that's shocking, especially because of the amount of food that we grow in our backyard. So let me explain what's been going on the last 100 days. I just want to say, first of all, that I am so shocked that these raspberries are still fruiting. We still have a lot of flowers and fruit that continues to ripen. We have had so many nights with a lot of frost, and they are still doing amazing. I am so impressed with these. Over 10 years ago, I was diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis. At the time, I didn't know anything about arthritis, and I had no idea what an autoimmune disease was. Sitting in the rheumatologist office, he told me that the treatment plan included chemotherapy and that it would only put my disease into remission, and I would have to continue to go in for treatments periodically just to keep my disease at bay. And then he said that even after all those treatments, I would still end up in a wheelchair by the time I'm 50, unable to take care of myself. I knew right away that that is not the life I wanted. And Glenn and I were not finished having children. We knew we wanted more kids. We only had Gabriel at the time. And being sick and being dependent on medication was not an option for me. That is not what I wanted. So we left the doctor's office that day knowing that I would never see him again because I was going to find an alternative solution. And that's really the beginning of my health journey. And it's been a journey that has been going on for a long time. It is not what I imagined. I imagined this would take, yes, a few years, but I did not think it would be over 10 years. And here I am still in this journey. When I started this YouTube channel, there were three things that I knew I wanted to include in my content because I love talking about health. I love talking about homemaking things and also about homesteading. And in the last couple seasons, I have really enjoyed sharing our homestead with you. And this has brought me a lot of joy. I love gardening. I love growing our food. I love what we're doing over here in our little suburban lot. But I lately have been convicted that it is time. It is time for me to start talking about health. And I realized that one of the reasons why I haven't been doing that is because it is very personal. And the other reason is because I don't have the answers. And that is a hard one for me to accept. I knew when I got my diagnosis that God was going to use this for his glory. And I wanted to make sure I was an active participant of that. So I got busy right away learning about autoimmune illnesses and learning about what I can do to help my body support its healing. And God has taken me through an amazing journey of healing and finding a lot of relief through diet. And once I changed my diet, once I changed my lifestyle, really, because it's not just about what we eat, it's about the things that we put on our bodies, it's about the things that we have in our homes, it's about the activities that we choose to do or not do, because everything affects our bodies and its ability to heal. So once I started doing those things and implementing some lifestyle changes for myself and for my family, I began to see such a big difference. And this journey has been a long one, so I will make a separate video kind of walking you through all the things that I've done in the last 10 years to be where I'm at today. I have not had to have any medication since the moment I stepped away from the rheumatologist's office. I did not take any treatments. I did not take any medications. I did not follow any of the things that they wanted me to follow. I simply just changed my diet and my lifestyle. So that is a long list of things that I've done, and I want to share more in detail in a different video. But I do want to say that at the time of my diagnosis, I had already started health journey. And my motivation at the time was weight. I wanted to lose weight. I had gained too much weight during my pregnancy, and my son was already 2 years old, and I still had a lot of weight that I needed to lose. So I did what a lot of us do. We research and we figure out, okay, what is the healthiest diet? What is the best way to lose weight and all these things. And unfortunately, the loudest voice out there for in terms of what healthy living is the vegetarian diet or a plant-based way of eating. And I did that. I followed that, and we immediately stopped going out to eat. We didn't eat any junk food. I cooked everything from scratch, and I was doing the whole thing. We were eating tofu and spinach salad and making the black bean burgers and quinoa salads, all the things, drinking all the green juices and smoothies. Initially, my husband and I saw some benefits because we started losing weight because we were no longer going out to eat fast food and all these processed foods. But I knew something still wasn't right in my body. And so I just wanted to keep doing more. I wanted to do it harder and better. So naturally, for me, that felt like, okay, if I remove eggs and if I remove dairy, because they say that those things are inflammatory, right? So I removed those things from my diet, and essentially I became a vegan. And that is when my symptoms got really bad, and when one day I just couldn't get out of bed, and that is what led to my diagnosis. So when I talk about changing my diet, I was going from a vegetarian vegan diet, and I changed it completely to something very different. And that it included a lot of animal products, a lot of animal fats, because it turns out we do need a lot of animal fats, especially women. I learned about fermenting. I learned about cultured dairy. We even had to learn about how to find raw milk so that we can make our own yogurt. So there was a lot of learning that we had to do. And I followed a healing diet, a healing protocol that was so helpful um, for me for so many years. After making that change, I was able to get pregnant again and carry my baby to full term, because prior to that, I had had 3 miscarriages. So that was a huge blessing. I was able to see so many benefits in my health, in my family's health, and at that point I was hooked and there was no turning back. But now fast forward a few years after my youngest son Nico was born, and I just felt like I kind of stalled in my healing. I wasn't really progressing. And even a couple years ago, I started to feel some pain again and some digestive issues and other symptoms that were kind of coming back again, that it was kind of like a red flag for me, letting me know something is not right. So again, it was a good time for me to evaluate my diet. Is there something that I could be doing differently? And so I started researching again, and I ran across the carnivore diet, and hearing amazing claims and amazing testimonies of people healing just very difficult illnesses through that. And I decided to give that a try. I am a person who is very committed to something. So if I'm going to try something, I'm going to try and I'm going to do it 100%, and I'm going to do it really well. So I went completely strict carnivore from one day to the next. I just did it cold turkey, just like with everything else that I do. So while my family has been enjoying these amazing meals that we prepared using our produce, I have been enjoying things like burger patties or cooked ground beef or chicken wings. 95% of the meat that I eat is beef, and about 5% would be chicken wings. And so that's basically all I've been eating for the last 100 days: meat, water, and salt. And I gave myself 90 days. Initially, I felt amazing. And several weeks later, things started to become problematic. And I started to show some symptoms. Yes, there were some benefits that I could see from it, so that was enough for me to not want to stop. But I was having other symptoms that were difficult to deal with, and so I just was kind of stuck in this, like, should I go back to eating plant foods or should I continue to push through? I decided to push through, and by the time I got to 90 days, I was still not feeling well, still have a lot of uncomfortable symptoms. And so I decided to reach out to a nutritional therapist, and I am working with her, and she is helping me find what works for me. The carnivore diet sometimes is known as the ultimate elimination diet, and I am all about elimination diets because I think we all need to find out what foods work for us and what doesn't, because we are all bio-individual. So I am so thankful that I am working with a nutritional therapist that is guiding me through these really uncomfortable symptoms that will hopefully resolve as I continue to progress. But I know I am in it for the long haul, and I know this is going to be a tough journey. My journey with the carnivore diet so far has been interesting, to say the least, and I will make another video just talking about some of the amazing results that I have seen from the carnivore diet, but also some of the really difficult struggles and some of the very uncomfortable symptoms that I have been dealing with for the last several months. When I was first diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis, I knew that God was going to use all of this for his glory. So in my mind, I was already thinking, this is going to be amazing. I'm going to go through this healing protocol. My life is going to change. I'm going to heal, and I'm going to have a testimony to share with people. I'm going to have an amazing story to tell people, and I'm going to be able to tell people what they can do to heal as well, right? So I had this mentality knowing that, okay, God's going to use this. God's going to use this. And then the years passed and the years passed and the years passed. And it's been more than 10 years and I'm still in this messy journey. And I'm thinking, God, what are you doing? How are you going to use this if I'm not 100% where I want to be? Now, don't get me wrong. I have seen so much healing. I am not on any medication. I was never on any medication. I never had to go back to the rheumatologist's office and deal with any of that again. I have never had another episode where I just literally can't get out of bed like that first episode that I had. So there's been a lot of healing, and I've healed from so many other symptoms like asthma. And like I mentioned before, I was able to get pregnant and stay pregnant all 9 months. So that was amazing. And I certainly give glory to God for that. And I praise him for that because he did that. But I am still not exactly where I want to be. And this is the hard thing that I'm learning, that it's okay to be in that messy journey. And it's okay to share and encourage others while you're still in that messy journey. And it took a long time for me to get to this point of realizing. For a long time, I thought, well, how am I going to be able to encourage anyone or help anyone if I'm still going through it? So many times we want to be able to share our stories after the fact, or when we are on the other side of the valley, when we have already conquered the thing, or when we have gotten over something. It's easier to share in retrospect. And that's what I wanted to do. But I am so thankful that God has been nudging at my heart and telling me, it's time, it's time. You got to share. You got to start encouraging people, and you got to share the journey, even when it's messy, because God shows up in the messy. I am going to be sharing with you this messy journey. I also want to share a lot of the things that I've learned from years of experience with what I've done to bring my body to this point. Lots of healing recipes, different protocols and detox, lots of different things that I have been able to do and my family has been able to do to be able to support our bodies. But I also want to invite you in this messy journey that I am in right now as I continue to take my healing to the next level. And there's lots of things that I'm learning about. There's lots of things that I'm trying. And if there is one thing that I've learned this entire journey over 10 years, is that healing is hard. The work of healing that we do, whether it's emotional healing or physical healing or any other type of healing, takes a lot of work, and it is very hard. It can be very isolating sometimes, or we can easily be misunderstood because we are not following the norm. We are not doing what most people would expect us to do. And I know there are so many people that are dealing with illnesses that are preventable or that can be reversed. Now, I don't claim to have the answers, and I will not tell you what to do or what decisions to make for your healing. I just want to share what I have been doing for my health and for my family's health for the last decade, and what I am continuing to do to support my body in this healing. So I hope you can join me in this journey, and we're going to be talking about so many things. Yes, diet, but also creating a toxin-free environment in the home. We're going to talk about stress and our emotional health and how that also affects our physical health and some of the things that we can do to manage that. So there is so much that I want to share with you, and I am excited for that. So what does this have to do with my garden? Does this mean our garden is going to disappear and we're going to stop homesteading and we're going to stop growing our food? Absolutely not. If you have been following our journey and you're really here for the harvest videos or the homesteads content, and you don't really want to talk about health, or you don't really care about that part so much, that's okay. I am thankful that you're here, and I invite you to stick around because we have so much homesteading content still coming up. We still have some things that we have to do this season yet before the snowfall. And obviously, the rest of my family still needs to eat. Just because I am not eating plant foods at the moment, it doesn't mean that we're going to stop everything that we're doing here. But it does mean that we are going to make a lot of changes. And I'm excited to be able to share with you those changes that are going to be coming up for the next growing season in 2025. But I wanted to let you know that moving forward, the content in my channel is not going to be so heavily garden focused. There's just going to be a lot more. And I am excited to share that with you. I am nervous because healing is messy, and it also means showing up in the messy, in the hard parts of healing. So is my garden making me sick? Probably, maybe. I don't know. I am in this journey to find out. And my hope is that I will be able to eat plant foods again, and I will be able to enjoy food from my garden. But in the meantime, I am going to be trying to figure things out. The reason I got into gardening to begin with is because of my health. Because once I started to learn about how food heals, I realized that the best food is the food that is growing in my backyard. And so it makes a lot of sense to me that it was time to reevaluate my diet and see if there is something else that I can do to support my body. And if it means giving up plant food for some time or for a long time, I'm okay with that. And I will enjoy growing food for my family. I will enjoy the process because the process of gardening is amazing. It is therapeutic. It brings me a lot of joy, and I will continue to do it. Thank you so much for sticking around. Some of you guys have been here since the very beginning of my channel and have been a great support. I hope this content will continue to be encouraging and a blessing to you as well. See you next time.